Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news. Joining BJ Rains today is KTIK 95.3 FM The Ticket's Mike Prater. Listen to Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame. Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 95.3 FM The Ticket and online at KTIK.com. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now, here's Mike Prater and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
We're dealing with hotel Wi-Fi, so we're going to keep our fingers crossed and see how this goes today. If I freeze up, we're going to let Mike Prater get the dream he's always had to host his own 30-minute show here on BNN Live. But we are in San Diego, California, live on remote. I got the banner here, Mike, so you can't see so you don't have to see the unmade bed behind me. But we are in the hotel room here, decided to bring the family down and going to check out SeaWorld with the boys today and get ready for the game tomorrow night. Boise State-San Diego State. How's it going, Mike Prater?
Not doing too bad, BJ. How you doing? I wish I was in San Diego with you, but I'm back here in the studio. JP and I are hanging out together, and let's make this a fun day, huh?
Yeah, we appreciate JP as always for helping us get on. Mike Prater's there in the RowPaint.com studios, 95.3 The Ticket there in downtown Boise. Kind of a cloudy, overcast day right now, Mike, if I can try to make you feel like you're better off in Boise. Although when I woke up this morning pretty early, you got kids, you're sharing a hotel bedroom, you don't get much sleep, but I rolled over at like 5-something and looked and was trying to see what the weather was going to be like today. I noticed it was like 43 in Boise this morning. Is it cold there?
It was 42 on my phone, BJ, so it was a little chilly this morning. I put on a hoodie for the first time. It's hoodie season, so that's kind of nice. It's supposed to be 80 again by this weekend, so welcome to weather in Boise, Idaho in the fall. But it was sunny. It was a crisp day. It reminded me of one thing and one thing only, football.
Nate Staley says to each their own, but screw SeaWorld. I get it. I know. You got to take your kids one time. We're going to do the rides. I understand it, and I watched the documentary like everybody else. So I'm not advocating anything on the animal side, but you got a 6 and 8 year old, and you take your kids one time to SeaWorld. So
absolutely.
It is what it is. We're going to go on some of the rides and stuff today, and then hang out by the beach tomorrow before the game, and then Saturday going to stick around after the game and go to a Padres-Cardinals game. That was actually the original reason. Just randomly, remember when the football schedule came out? Oh, they're in San Diego this week, and I wonder if the Padres are home. Padres are home. Oh, wait, STL. Wait, what? It's like, oh, how lucky is that? So we are going to go watch the last place St. Louis Cardinals on Saturday. Looking forward to that. But it is kind of a cloudy, doomy day so far, if I make you feel any better. But I think it'll be a little when the marine layer or whatever they call it wears off, maybe it'll be a little better this afternoon. But we have a ton to talk about on today's edition of Bronco Nation News Live. Again, getting you ready for the game tomorrow. Eric McAllister's story, by the way, has been posted by Jordan Kay. And usually, you know how it goes, Mike Prater. The first line is usually you can tell whether or not if the story is going to be any good or if it's something you want to keep reading. And basically, the first line of his story is that Eric McAllister wasn't even a teenager the first time he got drug tested. And he talked about having basically smoking marijuana when he was 10 years old because of kind of his upbringing and not knowing what was right and what was wrong. And just a crazy, incredible story. So it's for subscribers of BNN. Hopefully you will go subscribe. You can use the promo code BNN50 deal and get a full year subscription for just $50. And you can read all about all about Jordan's story and what Prater's column's coming up and everything else we got going on. So one of the stories that I wrote, Mike, and posted this morning as well, I was actually surprised the number was this high, but it's still pretty low. I think you guys have talked about this at some point over the summer or whatever, but 13. Do you know what the number 13 signifies going into the game tomorrow?
13. No. I'm intrigued. What do you got?
13 players on the Boise State football team have a Mountain West championship ring. There are 13 players that were still on the team as part of the 2019 team. So
I should have known based on all the questions you've been asking in press conferences this week. So
there you go.
You're noodling away answers and coming up with finally winning a Mountain West title story. I like that, BJ.
Yes, 13 players. So about 90% of the roster does not have a ring going back to 19. So it's all the 5th and 6th year seniors that have stuck it out with Andy Avalos here that were a part of that 2019 team. Some of those guys were red shirts, didn't even play in the championship game, but were at least on the roster and have a ring. So, we talked about it yesterday with Jordan. I mean, they have gotten to the championship game a lot. So they're doing in the regular season pretty much what they need to do. It's just losing a 1-game championship scenario. But in general, Mike, 2 titles in the last 8 years, 3 in 10 years since they started the championship game. It feels like Boise State should have at least one more, probably 2 more during this stretch of Mountain West titles. And, to not have one going back to 2019, I mean, it starts tomorrow night. Try the long climb up the mountain to try to do it again.
There's 3 different ways you can categorize fans in terms of how they process their teams. Is my team intriguing? Is my team routine? Or is there apathy around my team? Those are kind of the 3 levels of fandom, if you ask me. And Boise State's always lived on that intriguing level by producing compelling stories, great superstars, championship efforts. I think Boise State football has become routine, which is probably what you could say about 80%, 60 to 80% of all college football teams. There's 10% that are championship elite, intriguing, maybe 10% that are just apathy and nobody really cares about your program in your town, and a whole bunch of just vanilla in the middle. And Boise State football, despite all its success, despite still dominating and in terms of crowds and season ticket sales and so many other different intangibles when it comes to college football, is still the king. But Boise State football has become very routine. They need a championship celebration, a banner, some kind of an intriguing moment, something that can capture people's attention. And it could be as simple as winning a game on the first Saturday in December. I think that's the most important thing for this football team. Top 2 in the division, get into that championship game and just win a damn championship, BJ.
Yeah, 2020, they lost in the title game to San Jose down in Vegas. Last year, obviously lost to Fresno State at home. During this stretch, by the way, you do have, of last 8 years, you've had 5 different teams win the title, as we talked about yesterday with Jordan. San Jose once, Utah State once, and then you had 2 each for Boise State, Fresno, and San Diego State. So eliminating the divisions this year, Mike, do you think that puts more importance on games like tomorrow night?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, right now, we did a segment on Idaho Sports Talk earlier this week with Ball Game, and I think Boise State's 5th best in this conference right now. And some of those are Mountain Division teams, some of those are Pacific Division teams in the old format. So Boise State's got a lot of work to do in front of them. There's some really good teams, and right now it's really based on the eyeball test. We saw Colorado State, that eyeball test with Colorado State. They looked good. That was more impressive eyeball test wise than anything you've seen Boise State do this year. So based on the eyeball test, Colorado State would win a football game. Now, there's a lot more intangibles to that. Boise State needs to set that tone, set that message, set that momentum by clicking off one of the most important wins on their schedule, and that's at San Diego State. Don't forget, as you know, they got to go back to Fresno State. Right now, I cannot pencil that in as a win. This is a very important game tomorrow night.
And forget about the conference race. You lose this game, you're 1-3 with a game at Memphis. You got to turn around and play Memphis next week. This next couple of games here, you've got the game tomorrow night. You've got the game on at Memphis, and then if you want to go 2 more games, I say throw in San Jose State at home and at Colorado State. I think when you get to that bye week, I think you're gonna have a pretty good idea of how the rest of the season's gonna go.
If Boise State loses to San Diego State, and I don't think it will, I think Boise State's going to get right and win this football game. And we'll figure out Memphis after that. But if God forbid, if they go 1-4, the level of it, I was just talking about the intrigue, the routine, and the apathy will set into this community really, really fast. And there's still going to be the hardcores and there's going to be a lot of people waiting for basketball season, which is only about a month down the road. So it's very, very, very important for Boise State to win this football game tomorrow night for the psyche of this community.
And I know you guys talked about it yesterday, but Friday night's a big night for Boise State football, and they've played over the years a lot of games on Fridays. They've played on the other nights of the week as well. I remember kind of Chris Peterson and going back in the day, just saying ESPN and getting a chance to play on those different random nights of the week kind of helped build Boise State's brand. And there's a couple of games tomorrow night, but not a ton. And it is a late night game, 10:30 on the East Coast. But so maybe that even helps after some of the high school football games and stuff. People come home and flip on their TV. I know the UTEP game was on a Friday night last year, right? That didn't go very well. But overall, Friday night, Boise State, nothing new here.
Yeah, 41-14. JP did a ton of research this week. We got all kinds of good research here at Idaho Sports Talk. And, the first game was that Fresno State game in 2001. That was probably one of the biggest regular season wins in school history, definitely one of the biggest wins in school history. And then the gut punch at UTEP last year. The last two games against San Diego State have been on Fridays, and it's been a split so far. So tomorrow's kind of the rubber match of a Friday game against San Diego State, but so many highs, so many lows for Boise State on Friday. Kellen Moore one year played like 6 Friday games. He was 11-1 on Friday. We all know the low point of this program was the 2010 loss at Nevada. That's the only time Kellen Moore ever lost on a Friday. But Friday's always been really, really good to Boise State. They shine in these moments, but I think we're talking about a different Boise State team than we were those previous 55 games.
We'll talk about this game. We'll talk about this season, some of the youth that's stepping forward, as well as new realignment possibilities and with a Boise State tie. We'll talk about that shortly. But first, a quick word from some of our sponsors. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of premix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com. All right, Mike, we talked about I do want to get into the relegation article in a few minutes, and Mike Walsh, and that's a very intriguing article. But first, you wrote a column, and then Jordan Kay kind of followed it up with a subsequent article looking at the youth on the Boise State football team. Why are so many young guys becoming stars already? And I do think it brings up an intriguing question. Is it Andy Avalos and company deserving praise for finding these guys and having them ready to go? Or is part of it, the cupboard was a little bare and Brian Harsin left some guys that his 4th, 5th, 6th year players aren't good enough or left the program or didn't leave enough talent there. What do you make of, just Boise State's recruiting classes the last, 4, 5, 6 years and how we've gotten to this point of where the Ty Benefields and the Breezy Dubars and Eric McAllisters and all these guys are already as either freshmen or sophomores. Even you go to the line, Roger Carrion, Cage Casey. I mean, we can go down the line, but a lot of freshmen or sophomores in the mix for Boise State this year.
Yeah, first of all, as a guy who edited newspaper stories for many, many years and read newspapers since I was a teenager, I can tell you you're blessed and we're blessed to have Jordan Kay on this team. The diversity of what he did this week with the Eric McAllister feature, the human gut wrench, versus the deep dive reporting on Boise State's recruiting classes was unbelievable diversity of reporting. And we're blessed to have him in this market. So really cool stories to Jordan on that, and good kudos to you for helping him as part of this project. Back to Jordan's recruiting story. Yes, obviously there were holes in Brian Harson's recruiting classes, but I think you could pick holes in almost everybody's recruiting classes. For the most part, it looks like Boise State's done a pretty decent job of recruiting football players. And I think there is a transition right now. I think Andy Avalos is trying to cover up for some of those limited holes, but I also think that he's found himself a whole new crop of recruits. And he told us in spring camp and fall camp many times that 60 of the 85 scholarship guys on this roster are now mine. And he's making this transition. And whether it's somewhere between 47 and 53%, depending on if you're looking at the depth chart or people who are playing on Saturdays, those are true freshmen, sophomores, and freshmen. So it's a youth movement. It's not a rebuild. I think it's good. A lot of programs grow through this. I'm very, very intrigued by the rising youth element that's coming up here. I can't wait to see how it all plays out, because the competition is going to get better. The transfer portal is lurking. College football is a landmine of nonsense you have to navigate through right now. But despite the record and despite the bumps early on in the season, I really like the way that this roster is developing. I really do.
Yeah, and how do you weigh, I guess, or how do you look at the fact that some of these young guys are just that good, or are they playing big roles because nobody else ahead of them is ready to play those roles?
You know, I mean, college football is getting younger. You don't have to rely on juniors and seniors anymore. Freshmen want to play. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you how many freshmen and sophomores and underclassmen are on Deion Sanders' team at Colorado, but it has to be young. I mean, it just has to be. So 20, 21, 22-year-old football rosters just aren't the norm anymore, and 18-year-old kids are ready to be rock stars. Look at Ashton Jenney. He could have played last year. So, you know, you could pick and choose both sides of that question and come up with the right answer. But I think overall, a youth movement in college football, period, the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, these kids are ready to rock and roll, baby.
Breezy Dubar, one of those young guys, obviously Ashton Jenney, Eric McAllister, Taylen Green. I mean, a lot of guys that even have played last year, but are only sophomores this year when you look at the roster. We talked to Taylen Green yesterday. What were your thoughts talking to Taylen and where he's at, where Bush is at, where this offense is at going into the game here tomorrow night?
He says all the right things, and I love interviewing that guy, and he's always got a big old smile on his face. He takes, I don't want to say the criticism, but we needle him with some hard questions. Why aren't you running? Why aren't you passing? You know, what's the noise in your head? How are you processing all this? And he just really handles it really, really well. With that being said, I just need to see results on the field. And he took steps last week. He's finding progress. I think at the end of the day, Taylen Green's going to be just fine. And I think we're starting to get a pretty good idea of who he is. I think we were all duped. Fans, boosters, media, everybody outside that Boise State football family were duped a little bit in the summer thinking that he was just going to be the superstar quarterback. He really is kind of what he is, guys. He's a great athlete. He's a great dude. He's a great leader. He's a great teammate. He's going to be an average passer at best, with or without Dirk Cutter. I really, truly believe that. But you can make that work in college football. He's not going to be one of the top 30 quarterbacks in all of college football. The college football world hasn't even heard of Taylen Green yet. He hasn't had his bust out moment. We just know who he is here in Boise and in the Mountain West. On the national scene, Taylen Green has not busted through one bit yet.
So what do you think happens tomorrow night? I know, I think it was Rachel Roberts had brought it up earlier this week. I mean, 316 rushing yards last year against San Diego State. That was Taylen Green, kind of first start, busting out. Nobody really knew what his kind of game was or what he was going to do. They ran all over San Diego State in that game last year. Do you think they come out and try to run the football tomorrow night, or do we see the downfield passing attack continue to progress here?
Both. I need to see both. Yeah, I need to see them take advantage of San Diego State. Now, San Diego State's pretty good defensively, but their biggest pot of gold is their takeaways. They're number one in the nation in takeaways, as you know. This game will come down to
interceptions, I believe. 8 interceptions already?
Yes. So you have to be careful. I want to see Boise State establish the run. Let's go back to traditional football, and they've been doing a pretty decent job of that, but maybe a heavy dose. We're not going to see George Helani, I don't think. I'd be shocked if we did. I think we're going to see Ashton Jenney. Maybe this is a 30-carry game. This is one of those physical, intimidating, dirty dog, nasty football games. Give me 10 carries from Breezy Dubar. Give me 5 carries from Taylen Green, and limit his passing. I didn't hate his boring passing last week. The quick screens right, the quick screens left. He needs to get comfortable in his mind, and those are easy stuff. He's got great athletes. Just get the ball in their hands and let them do their work. So it's going to come down to mistakes. And unfortunately, the ball's in Taylen Green's hands every single time, and he can be mistake prone.
We've talked about the offense, but defensively also saw some encouraging signs against North Dakota, Mike. 6 sacks, limited a fairly high-powered FCS offense to not a lot of production. What'd you like from the defense? Was that just because of who they were playing? Was there some stuff that can carry over for a defense that was much maligned the first couple of weeks? I know it was North Dakota, but we saw some improvement.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what we're going to see this week. As we all know, San Diego State really struggles. I don't understand why Brady Hoke. I think he's disrespectful to the quarterback position. Brady Hoke and Craig Bull drive me crazy. They put together these beautiful football teams. Oh, and then they forget to get a game quarterback. Neither one of them have a quarterback. It's disrespectful. Most rosters start with a quarterback and you build around it. And these guys put 21 football players on the field and say, "Oh, let's go get a quarterback." And San Diego State's quarterback doesn't scare me. But they're going to keep it in control, and they're going to limit to what he does. Boise State just can't give up the explosive plays, especially in this game. That doesn't mean San Diego State doesn't have some playmakers, but limited explosive plays. And I think it went from 15 to 14 to 2 in terms of how Boise State classifies explosive plays in their 3 games. So the progression is there. They just need to not take a step backwards and just play a smart football game on Friday night.
It is crazy how San Diego State, and you could throw Wyoming in there too, had seasons where they were literally a good quarterback away from being really good.
And it's their MO. And that's why I don't like Craig Bull, because I thought he did Josh Allen dirty. And I know it's not easy to recruit to Laramie, but you can find one good running back. You can find one good wide receiver, a couple of skill players. And I have no idea what Brady Hoke is thinking. He's in Southern California, for crying out loud. He can't find some long-haired surfing junior college quarterback. Maybe that's what he's stuck with all the time, but I just think both those coaches are very disrespectful to the quarterback position.
I hadn't heard of it phrased that way, but yeah, I mean, what transfer out there in the transfer portal wouldn't want to come live in San Diego for a couple of years?
Yeah, exactly. I'll learn how to play quarterback, for crying out loud. That's how much emphasis I really truly believe, and I'm being somewhat facetious, but I just really think that's how Brady Hoke approaches the quarterback position.
Hey, we are less than 2 weeks away. Actually, 2 weeks from right now, we'll be doing hopefully a live broadcast at Topgolf, BVA, Ball Ventures, Alquist. Idaho's developer is BVA. We appreciate Tommy Alquist and company for stepping up as a major sponsor of BNN. And we're going to be doing our first broadcast at Topgolf. We got some cool things. We may get some of the BNN staff members out there taking a few swings on camera, which either could hurt or help our viewership. I don't know. But we'll tell you all about Topgolf and what they got going on out there. Hopefully you've checked it out already, but if not, we'll be there in 2 weeks. Looking forward to it. Check out the Eagle View Landing, Topgolf. Pretty much anywhere you see a new building going up, there's a banner that says BVA on the side of it. So we appreciate BVA for their support of BNN. BVA is Idaho's developer. We always also appreciate Lithia Ford of Boise, the fall kickoff sale. You see Taylen Green, you see Riley Smith, you see Paige Barsh driving around their vehicles from Lithia Ford of Boise. So they're doing the NIL deals. They're a big supporter of Boise State. Return the favor. Go purchase a vehicle from them. They got the all-new electric F-150 Lightnings. Obviously, all the other great vehicles there as well. The Bronco Sport you see on the screen. So check them out, and we appreciate them. Lithia Ford Boise. You get a full inventory of vehicles at lithiafordboise.com. I know Prater's hungry. He's going to be heading over to Taco Bell after the show here. Check them out as well. They've committed over $300,000 to student-athlete scholarships. Literally, the scholarships that the men's and women's basketball players are on right now is being funded by the local Taco Bell stores. So check them out. Get more information, tacobellworks.com. And we'll be doing a broadcast there before the San Jose State game as well. So we're taking Bronco Nation news on the road here a little more often and going to tell you and show you about some of our sponsors. So Taco Bell, check them out, tacobellworks.com to get more information. And we truly appreciate them. We also appreciate the Blue and Orange store. If you need some gear for some upcoming games, Travis Hawks and company have you covered at the blueandorangestore.com. By the way, Mike, Travis has been bragging lately. He gets to go with the team as one of the donors, boosters to the Memphis game. So he's going to be flying in style there, riding on the team plane, hanging out on the sidelines, going to the Memphis game. So the blueandorangestore.com, there's Travis and company are doing a great job supporting Boise State. Again, return the favor. And if you need some new gear, a new hat, new sideline apparel, all the retro logo, the Taylen Green, Ashton Genty, NIL hats, they got them there at the blueandorangestore.com. So check them out. And again, free shipping for any order over $40 if you're not in the Boise area. Okay, Mike, we got about 5 minutes left here, and I wanted to touch on this article that came out first from Ross Dellinger at Yahoo. Front Office Sports came out with a subsequent version of it, and lo and behold, Boise State's Mike Walsh, friend of all of ours, does a great job at Boise State, is actually like behind this whole ordeal. And Jordan Kay did talk to Mike yesterday. He's traveling, but he's working on a story. So we will have a story with comments from Mike Walsh up here at some point this morning at BNN for our subscribers. But what do you make of the last, 24 to 48 hours since all this has come out and Boise State's involvement in all this?
I love it. I love the innovation, and we all love Mike Walsh behind the scenes. He's really the king of the NIL movement behind the scenes. He's traveled the country talking about Boise State's way when it comes to name, image, and likeness. He's squeezing every ounce of creative juice he can out of a lemon because it's hard to get NIL money in this community, but winning national awards, speaking at national conventions. So now he takes this innovation and puts it over to this ugly quagmire of college football realignment. And I think it was a really, really cool deal. So we talked about it yesterday in Idaho Sports Talk. Mike Walsh is actually going to join us at 5 o'clock today in Idaho, or maybe it's at 4 o'clock today on Idaho Sports Talk. And we're going to dive into this. I've actually seen his 22-page PowerPoint presentation, and he's done a really job. This isn't just a random idea he had while sitting on a toilet and he wrote down some stuff on a toilet paper. This dude really, really put some thought into this. It's a beautiful presentation. With that said, I'm not sure it's going to fly. I think there's a lot of downfalls to it, but the whole segment, the whole reason we're bringing Mike Walsh on our show today is because we set the table yesterday when we saw all this news. Today, Mike Walsh has to convince us that this is a really good idea, which it is, but can it be a workable idea? That's the part where I'm skeptical.
To think about the stories and things Mike Prater has jotted down on a piece of toilet paper while sitting on the toilet, man, that would be a book in its own maybe at some point. But what do you make of the concept, though, of relegation, promotion in college football, the way it's set up where the Mountain West and Pac-12 would essentially be one big conference kind of broken into two divisions / conferences, teams move up, teams move down, your budget and how much money you get, and which affects the whole athletic department based on potentially how your football team does. And I've seen some of the folks out there that used to work for networks that are now kind of analysts for the TV money deals saying that there would be big money involved in like the 6th and 7th place Pac-12 game where the team moves down. Like that would help get, games where something's on the line like that would help increase the value of a TV deal. But just in general, the thought of an athletic department, as the original story from Yahoo said, if I get $8 million one year, I'm budgeting for $8 million the next year. And if all of a sudden they drop down and they only get $5 million, they're down $3 million all of a sudden. I guess your thoughts on this, the idea, and then whether or not you think there's any chance in heck this could actually happen.
For fans, it's really exciting. I only watch sporting events. When it comes to the NBA, I only watch the NBA when there's something at stake. When it comes to Major League Baseball, I only watch something at stake, an elimination game, postseason, playoffs. And so all of a sudden there would be something at stake. But come on, guys, we're talking Nevada against New Mexico. And one team moves up and one team moves down. There's a little intrigue there, but how much are we really going to spend time watching Nevada versus New Mexico, even if there is something at stake? And certainly the nation isn't going to watch that. So this doesn't involve anything. It'd be business as usual for the Oregon States, Washington States, Boise State, San Diego States, Fresno States of the world at the top of the schedule. So at the bottom of the schedule, we're going to add a little bit of intrigue. I don't see TV money being that much more significant here. I think coaches would hate it because it messes with their recruiting. So you have to tell mom and dad and his son, oh, you might start in this conference, the Tier 1 conference, but you might finish in the Tier 2 conference, depending on how the season shakes out. Now you go to an athletic director. Oh, you might get $20 million this year, but if your football team stinks, you only might get $16 million. Athletic directors would absolutely hate that. I also think big boy college football, and we know what direction college football is going. The top 40, the top 50 teams, they're going to put a fence around their entire world and start playing each other and put this bubble in. I think a gimmicky thing like this or something like this, they would view as a gimmick. And I think nationally it would divide the Power 5 and the G5 more than it ever has been before. So I think it's a good idea innovation-wise and creativity-wise, and something weird and something crazy has to happen. I'm not sure it's this idea, though.
John says it's a horrible idea, BJ. Please shoot it down, Prater. Bronco says agree, horrible idea. Vlad says this is a possibility. The winner of the Mountain West could be the highest ranked group of 5 and make it to the playoff, while the second best in the Pac-12 doesn't. So that'd be,
the American Athletic Conference, everybody else would have issues with that. That will never happen.
Yeah, it does just show that Gloria Navarez and company, and obviously Mike Walsh here at Boise State, they're thinking outside the box. They're trying everything they can. What it tells me, Mike, is we're not that close to figuring any of this out, because if this is all going on, maybe they shoot it down in 2 days and all of a sudden they figure this out. But I guess final thing real quick, because we're already over the time, but what do you think ultimately happens with Washington State, Oregon State in this whole mess?
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to leave with. First of all, we have legal issues that are going to take a long time, a couple of months here. Today, we're going to find out more. I think it's at 2:00 Boise time. Oregon State and Washington State, their athletic department leaders are going to have a media call today, and they're going to talk about their options. This will be the first time that they've come out publicly, and I don't know how much detail they're going to get into, but at 2:00 this afternoon, we'll have a full report on Idaho Sports Talk. We'll be covering it live with you guys at BNN as well. So on the options. But I also believe if we had to sit here right now because of the legal quagmire, because of the complication of all those assets and all that money, I really believe that the Pac-2 is going to try to play for the next 2 years as the Pac-2 and get creative and weird with the schedule, home and home schedule with each other within season, pick up a bunch of whole other regional teams. They're going to figure out a way. They're going to spend the next 2 years figuring this out. This conversation's not going anywhere, BJ.
Why don't they just play each other like 4 times or something? Why is it got to be home and home? Just to play 2 home and homes a year. Why not? Get 4 of your games right there. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Somehow, Mike, we made it without Wi-Fi issues in the hotel here for 30 minutes. So appreciate JP. Appreciate you. What else we got on Idaho Sports Talk today?
Oh, we got all kinds of gambling and fantasy and Mike Walsh and Boise State-San Diego State talk, all a lot of the same stuff that we're all talking about. So we're deep into the football season, BJ.
3 to 6 today, Idaho Sports Talk. You can listen 1350 AM, 95.3 FM. Go download the KTIK app. You can listen KTIK.com as well. I'll be listening on the app later tonight. That's the nerd I am. I can't miss Idaho Sports Talk. So the kids will be sleeping. It'll be 9 o'clock tonight, and I'll be podcasting Idaho Sports Talk. But looking forward to it. Appreciate it as always, Mike. Thanks to JP for helping us get on as well. And Jay Tust and I will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. On game day. A little game day edition with Tust tomorrow as we get you set for the game. So thank you to all the comments in the chat. Sorry we couldn't get them all on the screen today. Looks like they had a lot of fun kind of chatting and arguing with each other today. Kind of a banty day in the chat over there. But nice. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you subscribe. Go read Jordan K's article on Eric McAllister. It truly is worth the price of admission. And I echo your thoughts, Mike Prater, on Jordan K. He's doing a great job. Appreciate him. He is actually en route right now, 40,000 feet somewhere over California, headed this way. So we'll have full coverage tomorrow night, and we'll be listening as well to Idaho Sports Talk. So have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Go subscribe. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com.